In the business that I was in before CT, like I mentioned, it was a social media agency in which I was a partner in, right? And so this was probably the first entrepreneurial success I had been connected to. And so when I left corporate to do this thing full time, we had gotten a few clients and we were starting to kind of grow the business a little bit. About a year into that business, there was starting to be friction. And it was starting to be a situation where we weren't seeing eye to eye on where to take the business and how we were trying to grow. We had different principles and different, ideas around where we needed to go with the company itself. And unfortunately, it got to a point where, I had two partners in this business and there were three of us. And I literally found myself being the odd man out. I woke up to an email one day and it was like, yo, we no longer want your part of the business. There was really no heads up around it. It was a situation of, I wake up to an email and it literally says, we no longer want you a part of the business and we feel like we should go in a different direction. So as you can imagine, that can be a soul crushing thing because there's so many things that are connected to being in partnership with other people and to running a business that is 100%, your livelihood. So to have that snatched from up under you, literally, it makes you do a ton of self-reflection to try and identify and figure out, well, how did I get in this situation? And so when I say I had no other choice, of course, when something like that happens and you no longer have any money coming in or whatever it may be, you either have two options. You either have to go back and get another job and go down that path, or you try and start something else. So the very first thing I did was start reaching out to people. And I'm bypassing a lot of stuff because it actually became a whole legal situation. But I still needed to make money. I still needed to earn a living, still have people that relied on me, right? And so my first instinct was let me try to find a job, right? And nothing really worked out. And then I probably went on maybe one or two, maybe even three job interviews. And I think they could tell I wasn't in it. And then I think the last straw for me was the position that I held before I left banking. A headhunter reached out to me that actually filled or put me into that position before. Said, hey, I don't know what you're up to now, but I noticed that, you work for the same leader that you worked for a few years ago. Where are you at in your journey? And it's that and the third. And I told them kind of the situation that I was in, and they told me the compensation package, and it was well into all in 200,000 to 300,000 a year or something like that. I can't remember. You think about benefits, incentives, salary, and all that good stuff. To not have anything coming in, I remember thinking damn, I could really use that, but I wasn't passionate about it. I just couldn't. The thought of me going into another situation like that again made me sick to my stomach. I would spend my free time trying to build another business. And I did that for years, just hacking away at it, trying to make it happen. And so she knew that was a thing that I was going to do. And so when we were having that conversation, I was so, what's the word I'm looking for? I was so upset about the situation that I was dealing with partners, right? I was kind of over the idea of actually starting another agency, but it was always one of those things in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, if all else fails, I can do this because I had already done it to some degree, right? But when I had that conversation with my wife, and once I released that burden of having to get a job and having to take this position because it's paying a lot of money, then I immediately was like, you know what? It's all in on the agency. I'm going to start my own thing and I'm going to just figure it out.